Favor?
Aye.
Okay. So, financial items. Council on Aging transfer.
I have the originals here. The fire transfer, the original was lost, but that's a copy of what was requested.
Okay, so from the Council on Aging, they're requesting $11,000 from the program assistant salary to the purchase of service line, coverage of unknown bills. What is that? Unknown bills? Oh, I think they're encumbering it into the next fiscal
Yes,
year.
yes.
Okay, yeah, that's what they're doing. They're encumbering it for the next fiscal year. It's already been to Finance, it's been approved by Finance Committee.
Kathleen Previous on that? She's the
She's-
department head?
Council on Aging.
Oh, the COO, okay.
Yep, yep. So from the COA, yeah, she probably should have signed both, but, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved. Second.
11,000. Motion made, seconded, all in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Okay. The next one is from Council on Aging, Senior Wheels Program, to the supplies line item, $499.25. This one also has been to the Finance Committee and approved. I'll entertain a motion on that.
So moved. Second.
Motion made, second, all in favor on that?
Aye.
And then the last one is Fire Department. From the fire repair vehicle line item to the fire salary line item to cover payroll for June. $1,170.71.
Move to approve that. Second.
Motion made, second on that, all in favor?
Aye.
Did this one go to Finance too? We just lost the original, or?
No. It mustn't have.
I don't see it.
All right, so that's all the transfers,
Yes.
COA transfers. Okay, old business, final approval, NB Helps Christmas in July. No, they already had that, right?
Yeah,
Was that the thing at the school?
Yeah.
Weren't they gonna do something downtown? A fundraiser, or is that,
Yeah, I thought
is
originally
that what
they,
this?
weren't
they
they
were
gonna
gonna do
do?
the transfer station, but it was booked. And they were gonna do something on Main Street. I don't know if that ended up happening.
Yeah, I thought they would do some kind of toll booth thing.
I didn't see anybody down there, because I was
Yeah.
mowing the park
Must have changed.
Sunday.
Well, a little ex post facto, but they had the police chief. So we'll just make that formal, I guess. Okay, so 6:15, we have an announcement, right, for 6:15? I mean, that's like a hearing type deal, so we gotta wait till 6:15. I have 6:07, so let's go to FY22 appointments. We have that one all buttoned up.
The only thing is on the Council on Aging, Kathy Krieger's not on this list, but she is on the council. I found out today after I printed all these, so,
Okay.
I updated it on the computer.
Do you know what spot she took? Is she, what year her,
I think I put her for 2023.
okay.
She was just,
Well, there's 2 for 2023, there's 3 for 2024. Maybe we should make her 2022, so that it's,
She signed it as the department
Oh,
head on the other thing.
yeah. No, I guess that's right, 2023 is fine. All right, you guys see any issues
Do they go in
with it?
succession too, or do they appoint their own?
When-
The Council on Aging, do they go by who's up next?
Yeah, the people that are up next, so it's a revolving term, so you're on for 3 years and then
Right, but
you
not
need to be
everybody does
reappointed.
that.
Right.
We don't,
Right.
when we reorganize the board, I just wondered if they do the same thing.
Yeah, no, and I actually looked that up today because there's a statute on appointing council on aging, and it says it has to have revolving members.
Okay.
So that's why that one has it, but,
Okay.
do you see anything?
Nope.
So I'll entertain a motion to approve the appointed officials with the inclusion of Kathy Currier on the council on aging.
Is the playground on here?
No, they're elected.
They're appointed?
Okay.
Oh, they're elected, you're right, they're elected.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, fire report for May. John, you can stand in for Joe.
I'll be brief.
Yep, that's why.
The monthly fire report for May 2021. Applications to become a North Brookfield firefighter, 1 new application. We don't know who it is, but Joe does. Fundraisers, no fundraisers these months. Equipment repair, engine 2 needed 2 tires at a cost of $1,000 per tire. Chief found federal surplus replacement tires for free and delivered and installed. 2 more coming for the front free. Good job, Joe. Fire prevention, continue working on pre-fire plans, continue to respond as needed for any after-action situations, continuing street numbering system, attending functions at the Orchard, training, live burns at the training center, 2 new recruits working on fireground operations, fire station maintenance, general cleaning continued, painted floors in the office. Responses, 1 structure fire, 2 brush fires, 3 medical assists, 1 motor vehicle, 1 false alarm, 2 smoke removals, 1 severe weather station coverage, permit inspections, 12 permit inspections. Ambulance responses, 30 calls. Sincerely, Chief Hallway.
Is that the only one we had, May?
Yes.
I think so.
All right,
That's all I
I'll
see.
entertain a motion to accept the report of the fire chief.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, so let's skip to Pvpc discharge of liens. We have to discharge the lien.
Yes. These are the originals. Just you need to sign them. And, oh wait, I gave you a copy.
So there's an explanation letter here that says, a general assignment is filed at the beginning of a project with a up to amount. After completion, the detailed assignment is filed with the registry stating the actual amount of the lien on the property. The general assignment will then be formally discharged using the attached form. The discharge of the lien will only be filed after the detailed assignment is recorded at the registry. So I'll entertain a motion to approve the signature on the discharges.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. You're a notary, right, Ash?
I am, yes.
All right. You can just fill in the rest of that information for me. And
Yep.
All right. Nothing that we can cover in 2 minutes. So, yeah. Okay. All right, so we'll move on to the West Side Infrastructure Study Public Forum, which is required, right, by the,
Not required, but it's another, it's the final public forum for this project to give the selectmen just sort of a final,
oh,
the final report.
all right, the floor is yours, Mr. Ethan. Ian.
When's a good place to end over there?
Yeah, wherever you need to be. I mean, if you need to point stuff out, we can be there.
So, thank you, Selectmen, for having us today to sort of finish out this project with the West Side Infrastructure Plan. My name is Ian McElwee. I'm with the Central Massachusetts Regional Planning Commission. For those of you that don't know, we're the regional planning agency for Southern Worcester County, which covers the North Brookfield as well. And through a state-funded community development block grant, the town was awarded funds to complete an infrastructure project in the West Side neighborhood. This is the neighborhood that is sort of behind the town hall and the townhouse. It covers roughly about 10 streets. And through this study, the town contracted with Leonard Engineering, for those here, that will sort of speak on the plan itself. They completed this survey over the summer of 2020, summer and fall of 2020, and then completed the plan up until now. So we're finishing out this. This is sort of the final draft of the plan. We're presenting here to the selectmen and to the public, just to get an idea of what what came out of the plan. They will speak on that, and then I will come back and I will speak on sort of what are the next steps. What are we going to finally use this plan for? How are we going to move this forward to implement some of the suggestions that came out of it. So I will hand it over to Corey Broder here from Leonard Engineering, and he will go over what they came up with.
Good evening again, Corey Broder, Leonard Engineering here, colleague Doug Bush. So Ian explained kind of, the timeline of it. So we've kind of had it wrapped up about since April. We made a final couple of additions to some estimates to give you options for each street, just on the curbing and sidewalks. So there'll be a full master plan. Includes, these are just the small plans that are included. The colored ones are the existing assessments of the surface, and there's one for that and one for the utilities as well. And then so we had a meeting over the winter, I think it was in January, December, and that's when we explained, what we found with the conditions of the water, the sewer, the drainage in the streets. And I guess it's probably not a secret, but most of the roadways are in rough condition. There's a few that are in fair condition that may not need full reconstruction depending on what you do for utilities. But for the most part, I believe the total is around 10.2 million for the whole project area on the low end, and that obviously can change over the years. For the most part, all the water lines need to be replaced. Sewer, there was work done not that long ago. They did a lot of lining and repairs to sewers, but there's still most of the services still need to be replaced, and there's still quite a bit of, they found quite a bit of I&I that's still in the system that they need to remove. So there's still work to be done on that. Drainage systems are in poor condition throughout the project area, and that's obviously contributing to the poor roadway conditions. So since the last meeting, what we've done is we've come up with conceptual plans. Nothing's been fully designed yet. That's when you apply. You'll apply for applications over the next several years, dozen years or so, anyway, for projects that would qualify for grant funds. But what we did is we laid out, for the most part, in here, proposed sewer, drainage improvements, and roadway conditions. I'm sorry, let's do this thing. So in different colors, this should represent what we're doing And what we did in the master plan itself, we came up with an itemized estimates for each street. Some streets are broken down into multi-phases based on, you kind of capped on what funds you can apply for. So I believe was it $800,000 a year?
$800,000 for a community development block
Yeah.
grant. There's some additional programs that you can apply for a little bit more for funding.
So for the most part, what we did is we tried to break them down into phases that would fit within a grant block application. So, you know, for the most part, you know, all the sidewalks, all the curbing, all the roadways are gonna need to be reconstructed for the most part. There's a few, I think Summer Street in some spots, I think that was in fair condition. Depending on what's done for utilities though, there still may need to be some improvements, but, so we went through, you know, each street, like I said, I think it's around roughly 10,000 feet of roadway. And that's the Summer Street area. This is kind of on the low, and there's one little section of Bell Road that was included in the grant as well. And then we sat down, we met with Central Mass Planning and tried to figure out which roadway would qualify, you know, and what would be a good fit for the first application. We determined Mount Pleasant Street would probably be a good one to do, because it's, you know, the roadway is just fitting because it was one of the 4 roadways, and it needs drainage, it needs water, and I believe it was in the qualifying, or likely to be in the qualifying roads for the grant. We did have to break it down into 2 phases. So the first phase would only include water and patching, and then the second phase would be the drainage and surface improvements. So that, I believe, is what we're going to be applying for. We suggested that it's been approved, but that's kind of what we're leaning towards, suggesting applying for grant this fall.
Nothing for the sewer? Just water? Or?
Well, for water, so most of the sewer on this line, it was lined, right, I believe?
Yep.
So they did the CIPP lining, I don't
And
remember.
that's sufficient? We're not gonna have to dig that up in 10 years?
Well, I mean, it's solid, there's no water coming through the pipes. I still think we include the services though, right? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we're proposing replacing the
home.
waters, well, to the property lines, not
Right,
all the
yeah,
way to
yeah.
the house, but, and
As you
then,
get closer to Mount Pleasant Place, there's a manhole that needs to be repaired, but
yeah.
overall, the piping was in good condition.
It's an okay shape. You just hate to do all that digging and then have to dig it up again.
Yeah, no, lining is a good way to do it. I mean, especially when they did the amount of footage that they did. You know,
Mhm.
that's really, you know, and there are some streets that weren't lined, and they'll need to be replaced likely, but,
Summer and some Union was not lined.
Mhm.
but they're all over 100 years old, clay pipe,
Mhm.
that's, so that's, I mean, like I said, unfortunately, just, I think it's, so we would apply for design funding for the whole street and reconstruction in the second phase of the surfaces and water would be the first phase, so. You know, I think we did talk about the conditions like in detail in the last meeting, but I'm happy to answer any questions. Anything you want to add, or?
Now, they have to be done in a specific order? Like, do we have to do that before we move to another section? Because I
No, not
know up in Little
necessarily.
Canada, we had to do that
Yeah.
before we can move down.
So, there's one thing I think that it needs to be done at the low side on the Spring Street, the drainage outfall is, I think there's an issue there where, I don't know if the pipe is.
Yeah, there's a outfall from Spring Street to Evergreen and Evergreen beyond, but between Spring Street and Evergreen, we at least know that there's a blockage and a broken section of pipe. And I believe when I was out there, they said that it's been blocking up and flooding that area behind the houses, which is the primary, at least for the bulk of this drainage area, is the primary outfall that all that water goes to.
Did you analyze at all, which one of these projects would benefit the most people?
So that, or do you want to speak on that for a second?
No, go ahead.
All right, so that is actually where sort of the next steps come into play, where we will, we did a sort of extensive survey back in the summer of 2019 that is still valid, or at least in the eyes of the state, that we can use to look to see which projects would be the most beneficial for the most number of people. The issue there is, how much work can we do within that 800,000 limit? So that sort of limits how much, and therefore how many people will best benefit from it.
Mhm.
But there's additional programs that don't rely on sort of the strict guidelines that the community development block grant relies on, that could potentially benefit a wider number of people, and we're always able to help provide those resources to you and alert you to those grant opportunities when they arise for the town to apply. A lot of them come in the spring that to look out for, but we are trying to, that is one of the things is, how to benefit the most number of people. And the reason why Mount Pleasant Street sort of came to mind for that is because you have the housing authority right there. And the housing authority is sort of a great way to make sure that the street, it has to do this thing called, it has to income qualify, because that's just the nature of the program. Projects have to income qualify, and they assume that housing authorities will be under that income qualification threshold. So we're able to get a larger pool of people to income qualify when we include that area. So that is why Mount Pleasant Street sort of seems like the best first place to sort of attack some of the improvements. So.
As you go down, you said there's more grants available in the spring. Can you piggyback those grants on top of another one? So if you got 800,000 this year, if you get another grant in the spring, can you
Yes.
add to that and keep going on a different road?
Yes, most grants you can. There are some grants that there are caveats there. The issue is just timing, is when this grant will get awarded. If this grant is awarded, then you apply for the next one. When is that awarded, under contract, and just making sure that things sort of mesh together. That's really the trickiest part of piggybacking off of certain grants. But you can it's not like once you use grant funding for, say, Mount Pleasant Street, that no other grants can touch Mount Pleasant Street. That's it.
Yeah.
It's just figuring out the best timing for these certain grants, and that is why they also gave sort of a list of phasing, a recommendation of here's certain grant or streets to tackle first, then go down. Obviously, the town doesn't have to follow that. You can follow whichever one best fits your capital improvement plans and other sort of things that your utilities or your highway, water, sewer is trying to address. But yes, so you can definitely sort of take this grant and then take another grant and maybe tackle phase 2, and then
Or if you can do a whole road.
yeah, where you can do a whole road and do the entire
Right.
all the improvements. That's ideal. It's just, these days with the cost of construction rising, it's getting a little trickier to
Mm-hmm.
handle large portions of road at one time. But
Yeah. Now, were you aware of the downtown development committee plans? So this is kind of in conjunction with with what they've been moving towards?
are you referring to the complete streets?
Yeah.
This
Yes.
doesn't come onto Main Street though, it
So-
stops on.
Well,
Yeah, I know, but I want them to be
Yeah.
able to talk to each
I
other
know,
so that
yeah.
we know
Mhm.
what's
Well,
happening when.
You're
so-
dealing with them anyway, aren't you, Ian?
Yeah, I'm in the sort of in the loop on the complete streets,
Yeah.
and I feel like I can always reach out to them and they can give me all the information. But we'll make sure that's sort of handled because part of the Mount Pleasant Street project will involve having to connect into the Main Street portion.
Right, so like when we propose a project and we're doing the surface improvements and we're tying into Main Street here, for example, if there are, accessible ramps or ramps that are not accessible right now, crosswalks and stuff, that would have to be improved. We can't just not stop here and not touch that. So if there are projects involved, the designer would need to coordinate
Yeah.
But that's easy enough.
Yeah.
Because the current, we just got a grant on the complete streets, and it's handling from Hannaford's,
Up to Maple.
Maple. So I
So-
don't think,
Okay.
what your
So a little-
It doesn't
proposal
hit- it
here
doesn't hit Mount
wasn't hit,
Pleasant, yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Well,
But then
that's
you'd still
sidewalk.
have to do the sidewalk though, if you come down on North Main.
Oh, well, just at the.
On the west side?
Well, we could work it a little bit down here, I think. I don't know,
Yeah.
it gets
Yeah.
tricky on, you know,
Yeah.
who qualifies, how far we can go, but, it would definitely have to work the intersections.
Right,
um,
yep.
With the crossings, you know, yeah, we'd have to make this accessible right here. I know these aren't accessible,
There's nothing.
No.
Yeah, the trick, another trick with the community development block grant is that, these grants have to benefit residential neighborhoods, which is why when we were carving out the study area, we had to take a little bit away from near the townhouse where there's businesses, just because, there are other programs that benefit, you know, business areas and downtowns, but the type of program that we go for within the, community development block grant, it's mainly residential. So we can tie into Main Street, and we can maybe do a little bit of the curb work and crosswalks along Main Street to connect that. But outside of sort of that intersection, we're very limited about what work we can, the grant can pay for. So, anything else you wanna add?
No, I mean, just to be clear too, these aren't fully designed plans. I mean, it definitely gives you a head start where the designer can hit the ground running. So that's certainly something that, you know, there was an aerial survey done of the area and some ground surveys. So a lot of the utilities have been located. And there's a pretty decent survey out there. So once the design phases start for each street, then, you know, like I said, I think they got a little bit of a head start, so.
So what are the next steps for this plan? You know, how can the town best utilize this plan? Well, there's several ways. One is a future community development block grant application. We are, the Central Massachusetts Regional Planning Commission has started doing a little bit of work on the background and putting together a FY21 application that's due September 9th, I believe, or whatever that Friday is. And I'm planning on meeting with the Community Development Advisory Committee, which is sort of and getting some more feedback from from various town officials, including highway, water, sewer, you know, anything that the Board of Selectmen wants to add, in order to sort of come up with, you know, here's the best project. We are recommending, and we think that the best one is Mount Pleasant Street, but if something else comes to mind that they really want to focus, that the town really wants to focus on, you know, this is not set in stone yet. But we are hoping that a good application can come forward so that that can be awarded to do both design and construction. Construction of a certain amount, and then obviously the design, because these are very schematic. We'll need an engineer to both design it and then come construction to oversee the construction to make sure that it goes to plan. Other funds that can be used is, you know, if there's a smaller project here that maybe you can have some capital improvement funds can go towards that, or Chapter 90 a little bit. There's the Community One Stop for Growth application that sort of took MassWorks and the STRAP grant applications and moved it into a single grant format. Those usually come out in spring. That is available for, you know, STRAP grants are available up to $1 million. If you have the design done, well, they can do some design. And then there's plenty of other grant opportunities. I see that there's some funds that are gonna be coming in through the state that might create some new grant programs that, you know, the second we are aware of a new program that might do anything involving infrastructure, we'll make sure to alert the towns so that you know what's going on. And, I mean, there's just it's gonna be in stages, it's gonna be over a few year process. It's, you know, not a plan that's not valid after a certain number of years. You will have to maybe revisit the numbers and things, but it's very much sort of, this is the beginning of a number of improvements that you can make in this neighborhood. And I think that will benefit benefit all the residents, especially when you consider, you know, the sidewalk improvements, the road improvements, drainage improvements, and, you know, the water, and just making sure that it's a better neighborhood. So that's sort of so the immediate next steps is that I'm gonna be meeting sort of trying to get in touch with town officials to sort of figure out what project might make the best sense for the community development block grant application, so we can make sure to get that written up, do any sort of follow-ups that might need to be necessary to make sure that whatever street you choose income qualifies. Again, we have that survey from 2019 that I can go off of that got a lot of good responses from. And we'll be back in front of the selectmen at the second meeting in July to do the public hearing for that application. So that's when you'll hear, and you'll, I think, make a vote on approving the project for application that you have done in the past. And so I'll open up to selectmen if you have any additional questions, and then I will open up to the public if you have any questions about the final plan. But I'll let you all speak first. If you have anything else.
Got anything?
You said we were gonna apply for the grants in July of next year?
No, the FY21 grant, that's due in September
Yeah,
of this year. And then in the spring of '22, I expect the next round of community one-stop for growth applications will open up. Those are usually due May or June. That can sometimes vary a little bit, but that's just another grant opportunity that you can apply for.
so who's writing the grants? Are you helping us write the grant, or are we using our not grant writer to write the grants? 'Cause we,
If you
I
would
know
like-
Jason has written them and
Mhm.
with the help of Kim and stuff, but who do we need to? You're
Yeah.
saying these grants need to be done and for a specific portion, but
Yeah, so
you have to get us on board with getting the grant written properly so we get the
Mhm.
money.
we are always welcome to help if
Yeah.
that's something the town wants to reach out to us and see if we can help with. We're always glad to help with grant applications.
Is there a fee from CMRPC or is
Above my
it?
pay grade.
Okay, I'm just saying.
I'm not committing to any answers
I'm
on
just
that.
asking, do they take a percentage of the grant or something like
Sometimes
that?
we
or-
will write the application if, with a memo of understanding that if it's awarded, we'll administer the grant, and that'll take some funds there from the
Okay.
grant.
Because we've done these before, right? Wasn't all that
This-
sewage stuff up there?
That was
All the-
community development block
Yeah,
grant.
so,
Yeah,
yeah, we've been through it before.
Yeah, all right, I'm just asking, because,
yeah.
you know, nobody else is gonna know. So this is a long, you said $10 million up in the beginning, that's for all the stuff we have here? An estimate,
Current,
not.
current prices and honestly, over the
Right.
last year and a half, things have gone crazy.
Correct.
So,
So the first 800,000 you would use to do Mount Pleasant Street, if we got it.
If we
If we got it.
it was probably, I think that, yeah, the actual cost, yeah.
So if you're looking at 10 million kind of for the whole project you did here, you're talking 15 years down the road for completion, probably.
Probably, maybe less if you get multiple grants.
If you get all the
Copy,
grants.
and you can,
Yeah.
sort of tack multiple things together. Also as a note, and I don't know about the copy of the master plan, but Ashley does have a copy of it. She has a paper copy of it there. She has the online copy as well. It's gonna be posted, or maybe already posted on the town's website for the public to look up on, and in that also has the breakdown of the costs
Mhm.
for each street, so you can take a look at it and get a better idea. And also after this, I will send it over to Highway Department, Water and Sewer as well, just so they have, they received the draft, but I'll make sure that they have this final version as well. Just for use in their own, if they're thinking of their own types of how to phase in their various projects. Here's some numbers that, might be useful, maybe not, but.
Well, you just want the homeowners to know this is gonna happen next year. The
Yeah,
whole, the
and
whole
we're-
project's not gonna,
yeah.
it's a process and it could take up to 15 years to do just the section that you're doing, if we get all the grants.
If you
Could
get
be
all the
less,
grants.
could be less.
Could
but
be
when you-
less.
When you look at a $10 million estimate now, and like you
Mhm.
said, prices are wacky, maybe it could end up doubling by
Yeah,
that time.
Yep.
So,
but, if we're gonna go for this application, we will make sure that all the residents that are within the project area are gonna be notified about the public hearing in July or August. We'll keep them, we'll make sure that they stay up to date on all the, if it's awarded, on the design, on the construction, keep them alert to everything. And then, you know, this is just the beginning, and then if, say, we wanna maybe tackle another street, that's when we'll maybe invite public to comment on, we'll come out here, take a look at the roads, see how things have changed or not changed. Reach out to the public for comment, there's a variety of things that we can do, but we'll make sure to keep the public sort of engaged in this process, because yes, it is gonna be a long term, and there will be some resident turnaround, but we'll make sure that everybody sort of knows what's going on, and we're not gonna just sneak in an application.
I'm good.
Okay. Anybody from, yes?
I'm new for this. Are the parameters of this whole project town water, town sewer users, or is it smaller?
How did you come up with those
Yeah, how did you
boundaries?
come
Yes.
up with the boundaries?
We'll explain why in just a minute, but we're curious as to what your answer is.
So are you, so asking why we came up with the borders of the project area?
Yes,
Yeah,
I unfortunately cannot speak to it. That was done before I came on board. I think they took a look at some of the streets to look at where sort of the boundaries of the public water and sewer lines are located, because it's, these grants, it's, town money, so it's town-owned lines that, in the public right-of-way that can be addressed with these, with the community development block grant funds. And since the study was funded through a community development block grant, through those funds, they had to stay to the public right of way in terms of what they can look at and what they can address.
so when you say Summer Street, you're talking the
From
whole thing
115
or
to
the
10.
upper part? Cause we're on the lower part,
Talking,
that run, where Bigelow splits.
yeah, well, not even.
Well, actually, there's that section.
It's-
There's another one
Just,
down.
just before Union, all the way to, High.
Stops at High Street.
So the first.
So it
first-
stops at High Street?
looks like it.
Even though
Yeah.
Summer
Yeah.
Street
Yeah.
continues down
Yes.
to the
And
right?
there's almost no population density on High Street. There's a lot more on Lower Summer Street, from 115 all the way down to 155. You said population density is one of the criteria. You also said income is one of the criteria. I can't imagine that we're much wealthier than the people in town. And we're in town, we're on water,
Yeah.
we're on town water, we're on town sewer, we're on town, storm drainage,
I actually,
and we have a mess.
how it was identified, I played a part in that. The area that we're looking at today, it was basically initially set up on the condition of the roadways, and they're in very poor shape up there. That's how it was identified.
Yeah, most certainly. I think that the area, like when you look at it, is roadway and drainage, I think would be number one if I were to rank it, but obviously, you know, water, I don't believe any of the water's been replaced at all in here too, so, I mean.
And on the town website, your information you put on there said that drainage was the biggest single problem, and blockages.
Yes.
Bruce probably knows what page it's probably the next page, Bruce. But you said that it was the biggest single problem, and that's the problem we have. Our problems come off of High Street and the top end of Summer. I have 11,000 square feet at least that I can't use.
Is it water that is coming, is it road runoff that's coming off?
No,
or-
there's storm sewers there, or drainage sewers there, that go up a right-of-way road between 137 and a half Summer Street to somewhere up behind High Street.
Okay.
And also come down, there are several storm sewers on the upper end of Summer Street where there's almost no water movement.
So you
But
guys
there's
didn't
plenty
go that
coming up
far.
the hill.
You didn't go that
behind
far.
High.
You stopped at High Street.
And if you go down Bigelow,
No, that-
there's almost no water in the storm sewers. So there's a blockage there.
High Street goes.
There's a pipe that runs under part of my property, my neighbor behind me that runs there, goes under Bigelow behind Air Street. It's dry over there, there's nothing over there.
Okay.
So, what I'm trying to ascertain is, how'd you come up with those boundaries? And who needs to look at that section of Summer Street?
Well, that section of Summer Street, as long as it's not, public right of way, can easily be done through another grant opportunity. I mean, we're closing out this one here, so it's not gonna be part of like an addendum, but there's definitely opportunities, to work with the town to take a look at those through either, and then maybe come up with a somewhere similar, maybe like a lighter version of a infrastructure study to look at these blockages. There's different opportunities to do that. I can't say exactly which one would work best for the town, but it's definitely something to maybe to talk to the town to see sort of how they want to address it. But we can take a look at sort of what we're proposing for that intersection of Summer and High, to maybe along High Street as well,
Adams
to
Street,
address
Summer, High.
yeah,
And
to
big
address
one.
some of those.
There's 4 streets that come in together.
Yes, yeah.
The town has attempted to make some repairs ineffectively. It's worse now than it's ever been.
Mhm.
They were going to clean out the piping underneath my property, going to the next property under Bigelow. The work that they did there is bone dry. It's all backing up. And the wetter it gets, the more it backs up. Yeah, I'd love to drive you down there now.
Not part of
Everyone
this
take a look.
project.
Does anybody have any comments on the plans that we have in front of us?
I just wanna check, do we have in town, is there a committee that's working with these gentlemen? Is there a person like in downtown development? We have Sheila that's working as the kingpin of the group. Is there anybody in this working on this, or is there a committee working on this?
Well, Pioneer Planning works with the planning board and works with the select board and,
Okay, but there's no one, there's no point person. Or is there?
Well-
We've worked with, water, sewer department, highway department, when we were developing these plans.
There is no committee, Bruce, for
Right.
this
No, that's-
project here.
that's all
CMRPC has done this on our own, asking questions from Jason, from water and sewer, where the lines are, the history of the lines and whatnot. They've done a lot of
yeah, they bring us
research on
grant
the-
opportunities and we pursue the grant opportunities that they bring to us, so that's.
We signed off on their initial asking for the money to do this work, to pay these guys for this particular project, so.
Well, that was a grant too, wasn't it? Didn't we get a grant to pay them to
I think so,
develop
yes.
it?
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, we
so
signed
like,
off on it.
in the future, like if we were looking to augment what, this plan, in the future, is there, how would we understand, or how would we go about finding the grants and then making sure that grant writing procedure is underway?
Well, Ian's gonna, that's why I asked the question, who's gonna write the grants? Ian's gonna help us out with that. We don't have a town grant writer. Jason's done some, I know, Jim has done some for the sewer, and they do their own type of thing. The police department writes their own grants when they need new radios and stuff. We don't have a town grant writer.
So this is pretty much collaborative work with town
The
departments?
departments, yes, yeah.
Yeah, and we do know of different sections in town that have problems, so when it does come up, started, I don't know which one it is, Place, Court, which one is down there? Place. There's a issue down there where it takes a 90-degree turn and floods that yard out a lot too, so. I know we have pockets all over town that have drainage
Conroy
problems.
has an issue up in the back there.
So we'll continue to work with the town on making sure that this plan doesn't just sit on a shelf and collect dust, that we're gonna actively, pursue opportunities. We'll work making sure that it's, opportunities that the town wants to go for in areas that makes most sense for what the town residents are saying, and what other departments are looking to do. So we'll be here, we'll be available to help as necessary, not just this FY21 CDBG grant, but other grants going forward. We love North Brookfield. And that is all that I have for this project. I do want to make, if you guys want to say any final words, I do want to make a separate plug for another, for something else that has recently come up through the Massachusetts Emergency Management Association. But I'll let you, if you guys have anything else.
No, I think we're good.
Okay.
Thank you.
So that sort of concludes the West Side Infrastructure Plan for North Brookfield's CDBG grant. I do want to make the town aware, and I'm sure your department's already made aware of this, through the Massachusetts Emergency Management Association. They, due to sort of recent flooding that we saw this weekend, there are some funds available for storm and drainage damage from flooding. All it requires is some information and entering it into a portal, and then they might be some funds available. We've shared this information with some town officials, but I can always forward you what we have, just so you have this information. But it's fun. It's money that's available to sort of address some of the damage that has been that's been created through a lot of this heavy rain that we've been seeing this last few weeks.
Can that be used by the homeowner, residential homeowners? You know how you guys
Yeah.
award money to do repairs on people's homes, roofs and windows and siding and stuff? Can
Yes.
some of that money be used if a homeowner had a water problem on their property?
I think this money is just for town infrastructure.
Town stuff, okay.
It's issued through MEMA. It's run by MEMA and administered through them. So I don't have all of those details, but I can send you, and I'll send highway as well.
What kind of numbers are we talking, or is it premature to me?
It's a little premature to say that. And I'll just make sure that this information gets to you so that you can take a look at it, and if there's areas in town that have been sort of hit hard by a lot of the stormwater and runoff in the rain, that these are ways to sort of address some of those issues. I just want to make this plug to alert you that there are these funds available.
Is that a grant we have to write, or is it a fund that we apply for?
It's a fund that you apply for, so
Apply
it's
for,
not,
okay.
it's not like a lengthy grant application, it's more.
So it's
Sounds
something
like-
highway would apply
Yeah.
for it?
Sounds like CARES Act type stuff.
Yeah,
We've done it in the past,
yeah.
similar.
Well, Ian's telling us that there's money available, so, you guys gotta hop on that.
That's good.
I'll send you the details
Yeah.
that we sent out to others.
Great. All right, thanks.
Great, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. And then if
Appreciate
anybody in the audience, if I have a sign-in sheet, if you want to just put down your name, that'll be useful for us to
9
show
minutes. 9 minutes till
as
executive.
part of the public engagement process of this grant. It'll be important to show. So I'll quickly pass that around and you just put in your names. And then thank you all so much for being here.
Thanks, guys.
All right, we got 9 minutes before we need to enter executive session, so make it quick. What do you got?
Basically two things. I summarized the road materials, and I don't think you really want me to read all these, but I did make recommendations.
Okay.
And I'll give Ashley a copy of that, and Gail some clicks.
They're pretty colors on this.
Recommended. These are just
Okay.
the aggregate, asphalt, stone seal.
Yep.
The fuel bid was separate, along with the pipe. So
Okay. All right. When do they need to be awarded?
Today,
Yeah,
it's fiscal, so
yeah.
if you want to read them, that's fine. You wanna
Approve the
wait?
recommended. Is there anything you want to scrutinize in this, or do you want to just approve?
I didn't see it,
whatever's-
but if Jason's run through it and
We've gone through it several times.
if he's making a recommendation on
On the bids for
the
the,
bids,
That's how we did it last time. You don't remember, only because there's a clause now that the state will allow us to extend the bids up to 3 years, providing both parties agree.
yeah,
So if one party doesn't agree, it'd have to be rebid.
yeah.
That hasn't been the case in 3 years.
okay.
Also, this is all administered by way of Mass DOT procurement
Yes.
bylaw and protocol. So we're not on our own here. We go through that process in order
Advertising,
to,
Well, it's chapter 40B, right? It's all Chapter 40B bidding, right? So, yep. And then just awarding, is there anything outside of awarding low bidder? I mean, are you making determinations based on history of people that you?
Yes, actually, I awarded the reclamation not to the low bidder, only because past history of the contractor that I utilized.
Okay.
Terrible. And the selectmen are able to do that based upon the clause, you reserve the right.
Yep. Yep.
So,
I move to approve the recommended bids.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion you have on that?
okay, the other thing is now.
All in favor?
Aye.
Sorry.
All right, so those are all awarded.
Okay,
Okay.
now the fuel bid, there's been some questions about that.
Look,
And
yeah, contract
Yeah.
wording, there was some,
Not the wording so much is you have options to go through a state bid price, correct me if I'm wrong, Kim. A state bid pricing and Central Mass Regional Planning Commission bids it as well.
And Mass DOT.
Right? So what happened was we awarded to Central Mass, turns out they're a higher number. They take a premium commission on it. And we have since switched to the state pricing, correct?
Yes, yes.
And that's significantly less, and now the confusion lies is Dennis Burke, who is
President of Brookfield.
the vendor, delivers both the state contracts and the CMRPC. So
Mhm.
for a period of time, we were getting charged extra. Kim is working on getting a credit
okay.
for the overage.
How much of a period of time were we over?
I
Hang on.
don't know that exactly.
Not clear.
Because you can
I
go
have
back
to-
3 years.
I
Has it
have
been
to-
less than 3 years?
Yes.
Okay, then we
We can go
can,
back that far? Okay.
yeah, 3 years
All right.
on a contract claim. Yeah. Like taxes and overpayments that towns make, you can go back 3 years to recover. Anything past 3 years, you can't recover.
Good to know. So the recommendation is to award the gasoline bid to Dennis Burke and the diesel fuel. I thought Sherman was low.
No, it's, state bid is lower.
Okay, all right, so it's both.
Under the state bid.
Yeah.
Under the state bid as opposed to CMRPC, the contract that you have in hand now.
Okay.
So we won't need you to sign that. That's a CMRPC bid.
Okay,
We don't want to go that way.
perfect.
Just making you aware of it.
Oh, good. Yep, perfect. Good, glad I didn't say anything. Anything else?
I
We
don't
good?
have anything unless you do.
So if we get a refund, where is it going? Back into?
We'll get a credit,
Okay,
so we get fuel.
Yeah, it comes back into the
right.
town's
Okay,
general.
okay, yeah.
One other thing I'd like to leave, came about this morning, the Carl,
Hartwick?
yeah,
Oh, yep.
would like to meet and we took the time, not necessarily at a selectmen's meeting, but.
Yeah, there were some morning times, right? I think it was morning.
This Friday, and then Monday and Tuesday morning. is
I
what
can't
he
do
has available.
Friday, but Monday or Tuesday is okay. So,
Good with
either
me.
one of those.
So either one, pick one and I'll show up, whatever day.
Pick one and maybe I'll show up.
And get out of the way Monday. How's
Yeah.
that?
Okay.
Monday morning.
We'll
it
do
is.
Monday.
All
Is
right.
he gonna be good with
Friday
Monday
is
now? He
fine.
gave you that date, because he canceled on us a couple weeks ago.
I know.
Can
I'll
Just
email
con-
him first thing.
confirm with him
All right.
and
I'll try.
we'll hold him.
I got 3 minutes. Anybody? Public comment? Quick?
I just, did Maria send you the notice of the vacancy in the school committee?
She sent us an email, but we did
Yeah.
not get a copy of the letter that was sent.
Okay.
And we have reason to believe that she actually vacated the town sometime in June, so we have some questions on timing.
Is after school ended?
Yeah, so I pulled the deed. She signed the deed over to her house June 14th. It got recorded June 30th, so we think she was gone in sometime in June, which makes the vacancy in June. The letter said she resigned as of July 3rd. And we're just getting notified today, but we'll work it out. It's 7 days. We have to open it up to to
Right.
voters.
You just wanted to make sure it got out there. on the
Yep.
selectmen's meeting.
Um,
Papers supposed to meet and any interested candidates, I know she had said to email her, she sent it to you. I've had a couple people talk to me about it, and I said I wasn't sure exactly where it was supposed to go.
So technically, according to the statute, the resignation letter needs to go to the town clerk, so we need to get a copy to the town clerk,
Okay.
because that's a statutory requirement. And then we'll put it out for 7 days, so we'll pick a time next week. Do you know where they want to meet? Here, there, school,
I'm
here?
not sure. She's on vacation, so she was just sending me a couple things to make sure I
Okay.
came here and made sure that it got out.
Okay, all right, we'll post it and we'll pick it, when's she back?
I think next week. She's gone this week.
Yeah, because we'll need all members of the school committee and the board of selectmen.
Yeah, we can set that up. I just wanted to make sure it was out
Okay.
there, so if anyone's interested, they can email us, you, whoever they can email to express the interest, so we know who we have.
Yep, so there's a vacated seat on the school committee. Please send your letter of interest either to the school committee or to the board of selectmen's office, selectmen@northbrookfield.net. Or do you guys have a general
I
school
think she was
committee?
just putting her name for the.
Okay.
But they can copy me, tell me mine's tcanada@nbschools.org.
Okay,
They should send it to both, so we both see who's
yeah.
applying.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's-
we'll have to, there'll be an interview process, I'm sure, if we get interested candidates, we'll have to discuss and interview. But- Excellent, anything else?
So just to clarify, that meeting will be next Tuesday? 7 days?
Well, if we get it out, I'm assuming it'll be posted tomorrow, so I would assume Wednesday. To give a full 7 days, everything needs to be in by Wednesday of next week, assuming it's posted for 7 days. And then we'll have to meet someday after Wednesday. I mean, if you're gonna give them the full day Wednesday, then it'll have to be Thursday or later.
Yeah, I think as long as it's written, the full 7 days, people have an opportunity to.
Yeah,
throw
express
their hat in the
interest.
ring for it. And then the term goes till the next town election.
Yeah, but she included chapter 41, section 11. Have you seen that chapter and section?
Off the top of my head.
No, you haven't read it?
I'm not gonna really quote it.
Well,
I've read a lot of legalese the last year, and it's,
yeah, I just bring it up in the,
she sent me, the Clip Note version is the school, the policy manual, where it kind of lays out the dates and stuff on it.
yeah, so the policy manual can't deviate from state statute, right? So if the state statute says it has to be a certain way, a policy can't contract around it somehow. But 4111 specifically says that if the Board of Selectmen are not notified of the vacancy within 30 days of the vacancy, then the Board of Selectmen appoints. Whereas if we're notified within 30 days, then the 7 days kicks in, and then it's a vote of all the boards, so.
By roll call.
So that's,
Right.
yeah, so that's only why I bring it up as to when it actually happened, because it matters who gets to appoint, so if we get that letter, that'd be great. All right, anything else? All right, so, we need to enter executive session, for exemption number 1,
I move to enter executive session.
and we will only enter open session to adjourn, so Dale Kiley, yes?
Jason Petraitis, yes?
John Tripp, yes?
Good night, guys.
Have a good night,
Good night.
thanks.